here. We're doing it. Do it live.
Oh.
What happened? What's going on? What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You're currently tuning into the CultPop podcast live stream, aka spoiler alert, episode 739, where we will review the past week's comics as well as talk about some fun pop culture topics for your listening and viewing pleasure. I'm your host, Johnny Destructo, owner of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, Pennsylvania, occupying the community space set aside for those with open hearts and minds who just want to make the world a better place through art and culture.
Wait, was that open hearts and open minds, or open hearts and minds?
Open hearts
to be
and
clear.
minds are closed all the time, so
Okay.
as long as your heart is open,
You're in.
I mean, the modifier could be before the two nouns, so open hearts and minds.
Oh, sure.
Implies.
Grammatically, it works fine. I just wanted to be clear about the status of the minds.
Are you fucking with my script?
You have a
Is that what's
script?
happening right now?
Wait a sec. What?
What?
This isn't just generated like off the cuff?
I meant
completely
not
on
physically
cuff.
my script. Yeah, it's cuffed.
It's I know.
After a few weeks of rotating missing members, we have a full team here today, so let's jump in. First up is Len the Bat Tribble. Quick, in your opinion, Len, who's the better artist, George Perez or Jack Kirby? Answers will only be accepted in the form of a rhyme, a la Etrigan the Dragon, or the Demon.
As much as I love George Perez, I have to say about Kirby that he is his superior because he was there early.
That is a rhyme.
Nice.
Kirby and early, he tried really hard.
He
That's
tried.
great.
I mean, it's just as good as Etrigan is.
That's
sometimes.
true. Yeah, Etrigan does not spit bars. Next up, making his triumphant return to the show, reigning champion Brian Lieb. Brian, in 90 seconds or less, presentalism or eternalism?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I would say probably one or the other. I don't know though. But was that reigning? Let me get a spell check on that reigning. Am I like a reigning champ?
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Like raining down.
I know how to spell REI.
No. Once again, I do not impugn the script. I just want to know what homonym it is.
You're just
I'm a
dropping
bum.
Mike Tysons and Lakers
I know.
and Patriots on everybody.
I swear to God, I thought we were gonna get a good 14 minutes of presentalism versus existentialism.
here's the thing.
Where
I
we
don't
are
know.
now and what we see is real versus what we've experienced.
Oh, see, I am not familiar with either of those terms.
I grabbed
Yeah.
I grabbed Psychology 101
Oh, right on.
and just two theories.
Oh.
Go.
Well, I'll tell you, there's only two things that I know for sure, and it is that I exist and experience happens. The experience is real, no matter what it is, right? Like, people worry about that sometimes. The Matrix, what if we're in the Matrix? Your experience is still real, guys. Don't set your mind at ease. Don't worry. It's just not what you think it is. Illusions still have reality, you know?
So presentism.
Yeah, if you say so. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, experience is real, and it is all that you know for sure.
Hey, Brian, shut up.
I'm about to say, proof
Well,
that
I
Brian
was
hasn't
going
been here for a couple of weeks
Yeah.
because he's like, nothing's going to stop my monologue, even a cooing baby. I'm going for it.
Oh,
You're
this
gonna
is one of my
listen.
favorite topics, you guys. Like, what can we know for sure? Oh, and Owen Wilson was awesome in that show, so great.
And last but not least, a man who's never met a kidney stone he doesn't want to pass, Noel. Tell the people what you've named your stone, and is it still with you?
He's still with me.
It sounds like Noel.
Oh.
Yeah. My spirit animal is Kai. He's still with me, and his name is Zack Snyder. My kidney stone I've named Zack Snyder because everything is gray and dull and just overly long.
Oh, God damn it.
If anybody has ever seen the old HBO TV show Deadwood, there was one episode where Swearingen had to pass a kidney stone. Now this is back in the old west, having it pass, so all you can do is pass the kidney stone, and the man was crippled cross-eyed for the entire episode trying to pass
I remember
the stone.
I remember so yeah, guys, I have a kidney stone. It's amazing. I love it. I wasn't here last week because I was sweating in bed, practically crying and throwing up everything I imbibe. But I remember people joking about kidney stones and like, oh, they're really painful. It doesn't really, well, you'll get them or you won't. It's gonna be fine. Those people are all assholes and no one understands. And also too, I remember the movie The Green Mile.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
remember,
Yeah.
Tom Hanks' character had like crippling kidney stones throughout the whole first like act of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that they even show a scene where he's in so much pain and fumbling through his house and like running outside and like on his knees buckling, just trying to urinate.
Mm-hmm.
And then, John Coffey grabs his groin and heals it all. So I was just hoping there's some way to do that.
Have you let anybody grab your groin and try to heal it?
Not yet, but I'm running out of options.
Yeah. I mean, just go up to people. You don't know who's magic.
Grab my dick.
No.
I'll just ask random people to heal my kidney stone. It's only one stone too. One.
Yeah. So it's just one. Just tell them it's just one. Just try.
It's just one. Who cares?
Right.
Try it.
Yeah, you don't know if you're magic either. Come on. Just grab it.
Give it a go. Okay, so when I do this though, should I ask people first? Should I before I ask them to grab my no, hang on. No, which question first though?
Oh, okay.
Are you magic?
Yeah.
Or will you grab my stone?
So
do I say, will you grab my stone? No, wait. I wanted to know if you were magic. Or should I say, are you magic? And then when they're running away, like, no, I just wanted to know so you can grab my stone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I mean, I feel
one.
like there's no way to win. Just so you know, I'm enjoying this so far. Hurts to laugh though. So if you could just bring it down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a little,
I'm sorry.
little less fun. Let's just.
Yeah. Just I know I feel like everyone also agrees. Just everyone watching, listening, just
keep it a little
Just
more.
a little-
Just.
we're at like
solid,
an 8 of enjoyment. Let's bring it to a 4.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about things we don't like.
We could tamp
Let's talk
down that
about-
joy. And
No, I really did miss you guys. This sucks. It gets you out of nowhere. Like you're good for a couple of days, and then you're like, I'm gonna live in the world again, and it just hits you. Last week, I was great, like Thursday, Friday, all the way through Saturday, and then Saturday night at 1 a.m. was just like.
Ooh.
That's what I messaged you guys. I'm not gonna make it. So I did miss this. I'm in my room though, which is weird.
Can I say it looks awesome? Like it's
Thank
looking
you.
really good, and
You guys
also
see Sarah
the color
Sarah
combos.
Bareilles?
So I am on my phone since I couldn't find my
Oh.
headphones to talk to. So that's why I didn't notice where you were. So what are we looking at here in the corner?
This is my new setup. It's just a very large wall of books, but
go full
I'll go
screen.
big. No, go big. I'll go big.
Nice.
Yeah. So it doesn't work. Kind of works. Anyway,
Yeah.
the cushion's in the way, but I have a little remote to change the colors back there, and then I've got my little Sarah Bareilles pillow, which was a gift from my wife.
Who is that? That name sounds familiar.
You know what? I'm just look it up. She's a national treasure. So I answer that.
I
She's
see.
a national treasure, singer-songwriter.
She's
who
a
brings-
singer-songwriter.
Who brings joy to everyone's heart.
I'm into that, but I don't know a lot about music or the names of singer-songwriters. So that's
I don't
why
listen. I don't listen to the musics.
Yeah, your tones in sequence. I do not understand.
Here's my thing about pillows like that, though, because I've thought about getting pillows like that. Like I thought about getting like a Batman pillow for my couch over here.
You might know.
But I'm weird in that I know that as a pillow gets, over time, sat on and smushed on, it's going to become like a little like dingy and dirty, and then the person's face is going to be dingy and dirty.
It'll be like Dark Knight Returns.
Right, and I don't want to look at that.
So this was a birthday gift. It's just a show pillow. It's just a pillow. I'm like, what the hell is that? And then my wife was like, it's Sarah
Whoa,
Brooks.
hey, that's cool. Nice.
This is a very childish edition.
That
I don't know
seems
about
that seems masturbatory to me in some way, but I don't know. I could be...
The pillow's involved, Len. It's Nolan the pillow.
It's sequence. It's not soft to the touch. If you have any weird ideas,
Whatever you're into is fine.
JD's back.
Oh, great.
Oh darn! I mean, oh.
Hey.
Oh, it's Kai.
Hey!
I was about to say,
Oh.
He's the best.
you're muted.
Yeah, I'm not actually back.
Oh,
I mean, he was frustrated as long as I am in front of the computer, and as soon as I walk away from the computer, he is happy as can be. Have you guys not started talking about the books yet?
No.
I was
That's
about
right.
to.
We're here to do work, aren't we?
Well, I feel like this is part of that work.
So do I. I actually prefer this work, but I guess at some point, especially since JD's listening, we got to get into
The books must begin.
Yeah.
What are we starting with this time?
Oh, thank God he's muted again.
Oh.
Yeah, bye.
We'll get the book. I'll do the
I
first
watch
book.
Hacks on HBO Max. Oh, I'm sorry.
I do not think we have any emails this week, but as a reminder to anybody that actually wants to correspond with us, you can either join us live every Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard, like you are here if you're listening to, or send an email to JD's Hero Complex at gmail.com.
Oh, hey, guys,
Ask
for
anyone.
anybody that's interested in learning a little bit about how
Or
we
don't
do the
send
show.
that email.
Yeah, don't. Whatever you want.
Oh, CultPop Go.
Oh, there you go. At Gmail, cultpopgo@gmail.com.
Yeah, I'll make a real banner. Sorry.
Sweet. For anybody that's interested in a small part of how we do this show, normally I take notes about what time we start each segment. And I do that on my phone, which I'm currently recording on. So I can't do that right now. If anybody else wants to, they can. All right.
Yeah.
That was a fun window into our production.
First note, 13 minutes and haven't started talking about the books.
Sweet.
Take that note.
No, he said
Honestly,
6 triggers of Keaton #1.
First of all, I feel like that's a pretty good average because we'd go through letters by now and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But whatever.
We didn't have any letters.
So the first book we're going to talk about this week is 6 Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton. Diamond has this to say, or solicitations have this to say, by Image Comics, written by Kyle Starks, with art by Chris Schweizer. The world's most unlikable action star has been found dead, and his previous TV sidekicks are looking to solve the mystery. But how can you catch a murderer when almost everyone hated the victim? Now these sidekicks are going to learn that what it means to be the stars of the show. That is, if any of them can survive the stuntman war.
Oh.
So I'm a really, really big fan of Kyle Starks. I've been enjoying his work for a really long time. Rock Candy Mountain is like one of the best things that came out that year. He did a Mars Attacks book, which was just
like the movie from back in the day.
Yeah, it
And
was.
the trading cards
So
movie?
Dynamite has the IP or whatever, and he did a mini series about just a hipster son and his war vet father as the aliens attack and them just trying to survive, and it was the funniest thing in the world. But I love this creator, so I follow him on social media and stuff, and I saw that there was a new book, so I kind of pushed this on everyone else. What did you guys think? Brian, what did you think of 6 Sidekicks?
I wasn't feeling it.
Right on.
I just
Elaborate.
Yeah, it just didn't grab me at all. Like, I wasn't interested. I don't care about this world. Not this world as created in this comic, but just like the things that he is talking about, the place that he set his story. I could see enjoying it, like if I was into this kind of thing. I don't think that it was done poorly, except that it didn't interest me. And yeah, that was most of my feeling about it. There was a lot of setup. some stuff that might be fun, like the Stuntman War thing, could be fun if I was already in. You know, the art is done in a style that in another story I would probably like, but it would never be one of my favorite art styles. Like I could see if this was done in like a crazy sci-fi future, I'd be like, oh, the art was pretty good. But yeah, that's about it.
JD raised his
pulling
hand, but he
the
lost his
out of my
headphones.
ear. He's got a grip. He won't. He's got the kung fu grip.
JD, did you have something to add? I saw you raise your
Yeah,
hand.
it was great. I liked
Okay.
the book a lot. I really wasn't expecting anything from it. But just the pitch of it, I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And as we're introduced slowly to each of the 6 ex-sidekicks of Trigger, what's his tits?
Trigger Keaton.
Trigger Keaton. I thought this was a bucket of fun. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty funny. There was actually some like chuckle bits in there, you know, not like I didn't guffaw. I did not laugh out loud, but I was like, you know, there's good bits in there. And I was like, man, this is kind of fun. It reminded me of the sequence in the Quentin Tarantino Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where you had the stunt folk all hanging out offset, which is a wonderful scene. I love that scene. And this had a bit of that flair, that panache to it. I thought it was a lot of fun. The baby did not care for it because he can't read, idiot.
You didn't get like half the thing.
And then he only looked at the pictures. But I also enjoyed the art. The art is a very interesting sort of thing that you don't see very often. And I wanted to show these. These came from Kyle Starks. He does a monthly sticker club. And,
I actually have all mine right now too.
This is what we do in the shadows. So you always get 2 stickers.
Oh, sweet.
So it's the characters from What We Do in the Shadows.
You know, there is very soon another spin-off of that coming to the CW. It's been airing in New Zealand for a couple of years.
Oh,
In
nice.
case you're interested. Yeah.
Bill and Ted.
Nice.
It's like $5 a month, and you get 2 fun stickers. It's really cool. Which is something that I had always been meaning to do for my Patreon or whatever, and I just never pulled the trigger.
Yeah, Kyle Stark is a really, really fun creator.
Yeah. So I may have been a little bit predisposed to enjoy this because I was like, oh, it's the guy who says stickers. It'll be fun. And it was. I thought it was fun.
Your enjoyment is real.
Lem, what did you think?
I thought it was. I mean, I think that it's a fun book. Just like JD, I think it does definitely brought to mind Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But I think, and in a good way, you know, with the whole story, the kind of like reimagined Hollywood through the eyes of this faux action star Trigger Keaton, who is like a big asshole. So it's who used to, I think, also be a stuntman or something like that. He definitely has like the earmarks of Burt Reynolds from back in the day.
I was thinking like a Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck Norris too. I mean, there's a lot of antecedents to Trigger Keaton, but I also think that while I enjoy the art on its own, I think that the art is a mismatch for the story, and that is where the disconnect for me lied, in that I'm enjoying this, but I think I would enjoy this so much more if either the story was maybe a little bit more over the top to match the artistic style, or the artistic style was a little pulled back to more match the story. You know, because the story is funny, but it's not insane, and the art is crazy, but it's just a slight disconnect from there. Neither is bad. I just don't think whole together it comes to a full package for me. You know what I mean? I could certainly see where somebody would read this and find great enjoyment out of it, and that's cool. But at the end of the day, it just didn't coalesce for me.
I get that, and honestly too, I think that's that's not necessarily a bug. It's a feature for some people because these 2 creators. Chris Schweitzer is the artist for this one. Kyle Starks is a does his own art and writing, but this one particularly, Chris Schweitzer is the artist who's normally a colorist. But they both have a very similar art style, that kind of bubbly, cartoonish art style. All of the books that they've worked on together that I've read have had that disconnect where the topic, even though it's comedic, it seems like the wrong art style. And that's almost part of the joke, because as things progress, there's like giant action scenes or really emotional moments or something grotesque, but it's still that same kind of bubbly, cartoonish art style, and that's part of the joke almost. That it comes out of nowhere where you'll have an emotional beat and it's effective, but it's like these are still bubbly, weird noses. I don't know what to do. Yeah,
yeah, but
I don't disagree.
You can have cartoony art and still pull off emotion, still pull off action. You know what I mean? But this is just a little bit, just a hair past, bubbly. This is like very kinetic, and there's a lot of lines going on all over the place, and it's just sometimes it's even hard to like really picture what am I supposed to be seeing here? What is the story telling me? What are the lines? As a first
issue too, it's a lot of legwork. Like
True.
There's a couple pages that are bubbles, just bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like this is maybe intentional
dialogue, just so no people...
dialogue. Yeah, it felt a little bit like the pilot episode of a 70s TV show where it's just a shit ton of exposition.
Yeah.
And maybe that's intentional because that's a lot of the emotion they're trying, like what they're trying to kind of go for too with Trigger Keaton's 6 failed pilots or TV shows, and that's where all the sidekicks come from.
And it is
I thought that was really funny.
The title is that 6 Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton. So getting a quick flash of, I don't think all 6, but maybe most of the sidekicks does make sense for a first issue. Like it's reasonable.
It's more of a lift as a first issue than the art style suggests.
Right.
Now, speaking of that, you Noel, you got the Pride cover for this first issue, as I recall, and it's
not near me.
Very cool. I was hoping it was, because it's very cool. It definitely made me think I was going to be a little more into this book than I was.
It's the Komodo character, the really large stunt guy, the redhead, lathering himself up with pink soap in the shower. It's the funniest. It's the funniest cover. But he messaged both of them to me. I was like, that one.
What's that?
Yeah. It's absolutely more like what's inside.
Yeah. The cover of this is like a little drearier, right? It's the just like
I don't know.
body.
I don't know if you guys looked at the back matter too. Like it's just I'm impressed by the whole package. I'm gonna finish this series. I think it's a really interesting enough start, but in the back too, there's TV guide inserts. There's an interview with him. There's some posters of the TV shows that were in the background of some scenes. Like,
a signed picture.
Yeah, signed picture. They went out of their way to do a couple of little fun things about this kind of genre, which I thought was impressive. But it's not, on any given day, it's not enough to make a book better. But I was just like, I see what you did there.
The signed picture has a copyright 1986 bona fide pictures. That's cool.
It's the little things.
Yeah, which is like probably from a little after he was at his height of fame, which is also interesting.
And he's an absolute bastard.
Yeah.
Just love it.
He's like Chuck Norris if the joke things that they say about Chuck Norris were true. Like Chuck Norris could be
he's like Chuck Norris if Chuck Norris believed all the joke things
right
that people said are true.
Right.
What kind of person you would become.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's jump to the next book. He's moving.
What is that? Oh,
he's moving the baby while he's talking, while he's on the show.
My final note on 6 Sidekicks of Trigger Giggle Tits. I have never read a comic book like it before.
Huh.
Oh,
right. And I feel like in in an age where a lot of the Marvel and DC things are on repeat. And a lot of people out there are constantly complaining that they're seeing the same thing over and over again. And if you're into humor books and you're into like a murder mystery with a little bit of personality, check it out. That's all I got. I'm done. Go ahead. Next.
What is up next?
I thought I'd have enough time to go grab something, but I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. Bunny Mask. Bunny Mask #1 by Aftershock Comics, written by Paul Tobin with art by Andrea Moody. Sealed in a cave before the dawn of man, released by a crazed madman, Bunny Mask walks our world once more.
Ooh.
But for what dark purpose does she use her unnatural powers? And what's her connection to Bea Foster, a young girl murdered by her father 14 years ago? In order to save his life and his sanity, one man will have to discover the truth of what waits behind the mask. All right, so I didn't read the solicitation before I read the book, but it's nice that they gave away the one reveal.
I'm about to say, yeah.
Wait, which reveal did they give away?
The murder of Bea Foster.
Oh.
Yeah, literally the entire book hinges on the reveal that that's not Bea Foster that he meets 14 years later.
Yeah.
The entire first issue. What the fuck?
That's the cliffhanger.
I didn't read that at all before I copy and pasted it into the notes or read the issue. That's so stupid.
Yeah.
With some of these things, I wonder if they're almost writing, like, if you were writing the copy for the trade solicitation, there would be a question like, do I want this in there so that people know what we're getting into or not?
Swap the word murdered for missing, and you're fine.
Yeah, true.
Anyway,
who thought what?
So this issue, it was fine. I mean, I liked the I really liked the art. I thought it was disturbing but still very beautiful. Especially some of the coloring in the past kind of version of the story, or the past version of the story. That first scene is very, very disturbing. As an older man or a father is chipping his daughter's teeth for a reason we don't understand. The mystery was intriguing. I really dislike the design of whatever this creature is. So it looks like it's a costume bunny mask. It's on the cover of the book. And it's supposed to be thousands and thousands of years old, but it looks like it was at Spirit.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I heard the
costume store.
Well, that's where Spirit comes from.
I'm just not excited about the actual design of it. Like, all of the mechanics are there for it to be a relatively enjoyable kind of ghost story. I'm just not excited about the design of the creature. It was well constructed. It was fine. This might be a really good like one and done kind of thing, but I'm not happy about the design, and I'm really not happy about that solicitation. It's still bugging the shit out of me. What did you guys think? JD. Oh, hey, there you go.
I
really?
hated it. I was intrigued by the cover. It was evocative of a movie that I really enjoy called You're Next, which is, a home invasion film with people who are wearing animal masks.
A great movie.
Yeah, the same thing. Yeah, it was a great movie. The same thing I thought that Noel said earlier was just like, oh, it's a spirit. Why is it wearing a mask? Okay. I did not like the art. I think the art was kind of boring, lackluster. The color palettes were really kind of dull and drab. There was just nothing about it that really grabbed me as a first issue. In the end, I went, oh, that's interesting. So it wasn't enough, right? The ending was the only interesting thing about it. And then I was like, well, okay, maybe the next book I read will be better. And that's kind of where I left it.
Yeah, I thought this was kind of a little all over the place. I didn't like the story structure. It just kind of like bounces around a little bit. I thought it was I agree a little bit about the art. The art is not bad art, but it's also not exceptional in any way. Like there are characters in this book who it was hard to differentiate between who is who. Unless sometimes you look for like context clues, like maybe one had a jacket on or not, and even then the coloring would change sometimes in between panels, so you'd still be like, oh damn, that's not him, it's somebody else. And like, so I'm like, what the hell? So I found that to be a little bit annoying. The whole idea with the bunny mask or whatever, I was like, I'm not getting it. The twist at the end, I didn't care. I was like, oh, well, whatever. Who cares? This is dumb. It felt like to me like a bad horror movie that's trying too hard. And at the end of the day, I don't really dig a whole lot of horror, so that left me cold. But it felt like a little bit kind of like stuff I've read before, and I was like, I'm good. I'm good.
I had the same problem, Len, about the characters. So there's a jump after the cave where people are driving.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh my God. And he pulls over. And I'm like, who is this guy and what is happening? Oh, that was the guy from the previous entire first issue. I had no idea that was the same gentleman.
Oh yeah, and you don't know it's a 14-year time jump until like cops are talking 5 scenes later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I also noticed, speaking of that scene where you jump forward, I didn't notice this while I was reading, but I did just now, that there's somebody is holding a sign, First Thursday, new art in all galleries, and it is the same font as the word balloons.
Oh,
wow.
And it kind of throws, it didn't throw me off while I was reading it, but now that I see it, I'm like, that's weird. I had a very similar feeling to everybody else. It was very like paint by numbers. And I was a little interested in the twist at the end with like, oh, they're in what do you call it? It's like an art show. That's interesting. What's the story there?
Yeah.
That's
the only thing that's really that's one of the only things that's really interesting too. I guess if the bunny mask is now taking the form of whatever this young girl is, which I mean maybe whatever. Why?
Maybe whatever, indeed.
Why would they?
The first cover.
Like
Maybe.
Whatever. CultPop podcast. Why would what's the goal of an art show?
Yeah.
Is it like believers or propagating or I don't know if there's a larger mystery, a larger, more interesting mystery, that'd be great. But there's no real hint of it here.
Like this entity may not know that it is not Foster.
Yeah, that's the impression I got, is that they don't know that they are
like this
pod
thing.
people.
Yeah. Interesting.
Anyway.
No, you
right.
think so.
Wait,
Yeah, what's up next?
are they both fake people?
Well, I didn't think of that either until just now, but maybe.
You don't know because you can't tell by the corpses who the characters are.
Right.
No, because the woman corpse looks like the guy corpse. So I didn't even know it was supposed to be B until they
Oh my God. I was going to say maybe that's not male character's name.
Well, I don't think any of us will ever find out.
Nope. It will remain a mystery, and we will be just fine with it.
One that we think a little, if ever,
Just
about.
a bunch of decent ideas put together in a different package.
Yeah.
Yay. All right. Anyway, we're moving on.
All right.
DC Pride #1 by DC Comics with written by Sina Grace, James Tynion IV, Steve Orlando, Vita Ayala, Marika Tamaki, etc. With art by Amy Reeder, Chris Anka, Travis Moore, Sophie Campbell, Stephen Byrne, Trung Lee Nguyen, etc. Nguyen, sorry. DC celebrates Pride Month with 9 all-new stories starring fan favorite LGBTQIA plus characters: Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Midnighter, Extraño, Batwoman, Aqualad, Alan Scott, Obsidian, Flash, Future State Flash, Renee Montoya, Pied Piper, and many more. As far as anthologies go, it was fine. We're very used to reading anthologies these days, especially from DC. there's an anniversary or an event or something, and
Every
just
week.
like
Yeah.
every week,
No
just
Lois
like
Lane, though. Not
just
yet.
like no Lois Lane, just like every single one out of like the 9 stories or 10 stories, there's maybe 3 or 4 that are solid,
Yeah.
and the other ones are take it or leave it, too
Yeah.
terrible.
So which ones did you think were solid? Let's approach it that way.
I dug the Batwoman one, the one that starts right away, because it was a very it was a solid metaphor.
Mhm.
Oh man, I don't have the book in front of me. I
do.
liked
What's the question?
Which ones?
Which ones
Hey,
he
can you
liked?
can you run down all of them for us?
Yeah,
Like,
brother. I'll do it. I got the book right
give me
here.
the stories.
Let's see. I'm
The
gonna
Flash
open
one
up-
was cute,
Here we go.
and
We
the
got wrong
Harley
side-
Quinn one was
You
cute.
just asked me to do something.
And then he
The Wrong Side of the Looking Glass by James Tinian and Trung Le Nguyen, and that was the Batwoman.
Batwoman.
By the Victors by Steve Orlando and Stephen Byrne, which was the characters plus Constantine. I forget who was in it because I had no
Midnighter.
idea who they were.
Oh, that
Was it
guy who also
Midnighter?
popped up in the later story, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is-
no.
Try the
It's
Girl.
Midnighter and not Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
not Doctor Strange. Try the
Gregoria.
Girl by Vita Ayala and Skylar Patridge.
That one was good. That one was really
What's
good.
that?
That's the
Which one was
the
that?
Renee Montoya one. That's the
Oh,
question
that one
one.
was
Oh,
really
the,
good.
oh,
That was-
Montoya.
That was
good.
the best one in here because I
cool.
hope that becomes a series.
Yeah.
Like that was they leave it to. Yeah, I think they even say to be continued.
I like the.
It says
lipstick
just the
part.
that was
Man.
great.
That's just the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
That was the
Um,
best one in here.
Another Word for a Truck to Move Your Furniture by Mariko Tamaki and Amy Reeder, which is very cute. That was
That's a Harlequin.
Harley and
Oh yeah, that
Poison.
was.
Oh,
He's
what
the
does
light
that
of my
title
life.
mean?
Oh, go ahead, Noel.
Wait, what was the
Another word for
title-
a truck to. What is that?
a ship?
A ship is another
No.
word for a truck?
No.
Huh?
Nope.
What is it?
Nope. It is a phrase for in the LGBTQ community. There, if you see two women together,
Mm-hmm.
they call them a U-Haul.
Oh, they mentioned that in the story, and I was like, that might be a
Yes.
phrase that I don't know, but I
Yes.
didn't know it. Oh,
It's,
I don't
it's
know
U-Haul.
Just,
do you know where that comes from?
I guess because they get together so quickly.
yeah,
They just become a couple and
there's
move in together. They're just
Yeah, it's a. I guess it's derogatory assumption
Huh.
about
No.
lesbian couples when they find each other. They just move in really. They go really fast. They move in together
Well,
really
they seem
fast.
to have used it themselves, but maybe it was one of those things that started.
Well, no, I mean
derogatory.
culturally derogatory, and not in like a slur kind of way, but just in like a stereotype kind of way.
a term of
Like
endearment.
it's stereo.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's,
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay.
going to hasten to guess. I will let one of my friends in the community explain it to me.
Great, Len. If you find that out, please let us know.
well,
will.
popular media has told me to understand that it's a joke that lesbian couples move too fast.
That everybody moves too fast.
There you go.
I'm sure it's something. I don't know. Like I said, I believe it.
Um,
You were running down the store. Well, JD is.
no,
JD's
not anymore. There's a Flash one. Jesse.
Oh, here I have
Jess.
there's He's the Light of My Life, which is shoot, which one was that? I don't remember. Anybody? He's the Light of My Life.
I think that's the Flash one. I think.
No, that was something makeup gifts. Here, I've got it here. It is the one with that was the Alan Scott Obsidian one. I like that.
Oh,
one.
that's
Oh,
right.
that's-
right.
That's a solid one too.
Yeah, I really
like
like
that.
the art and I liked the story, and they have a very complicated relationship and always have, because I think Obsidian may have even started out as a bad guy, like in the '80s, and they didn't know that they were father and son with Jay. He didn't know that he had kids until they were adults, I believe. So they had a complicated relationship anyway, but now having chosen to make Alan Scott, having been gay since the 40s, now this is some of the first that we've gotten. He was gay in Earth 2, but that was like a different Alan Scott.
Right. Right.
So this is some of the first that we've gotten in the the longer history Alan Scott that has a lot more connections to the rest of the DC universe.
Let's talk about that story for a hot minute because it's pretty good. Like a lot of the conversation online after Alan Scott came out, I think it was in the Infinite Frontier anthology, another anthology book.
No, Green Lantern, but yes, another.
Was it the Green Lantern one?
Yeah.
What? Who fucking cares? Another anthology book. He came out to his children. The conversation was why now? He's been around for 80 years. Why is they forcing diversity down my throat with this character that was originally blah 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 blah? So they're creating, or they're filling in the backstory of, I mean, to be a part of the LGBTQIA plus community in the 20s and 30s. And that's not something that you just kind of like how you were trained to be shameful or programmed away or hide is not something that you just immediately like, oh, we're good now. Okay. Like a switch you turn off.
Right.
So he's always been like, well, he had kids. Like, yeah. So many people. Yeah. So many people went and had straight, facing relationships or started families, whether to actively hide their sexuality or convince themselves that they weren't one thing or another. Like his
particular circumstance is a little weird though, right? He didn't do that. He had like a relationship with one of his antagonists because he was so pulled to, I mean, obviously the story changed. It's a retcon. That's what retcons are. But we just won't pay attention to that part.
I'm not familiar.
I mean, but you can pay attention to that because how often you find out about people who were, suppressing their true feelings for so long, and to the degree that they do have whole families, they do have a whole nother existence that they just, because it was this mask that they wore, so
well, yeah, but the part that I was saying not to pay attention to is more that if I'm remembering correctly, he was so drawn to this. I think her name was Harlequin, actually.
Yeah.
Like, how did they become involved? That certainly was not a socially acceptable relationship that he was in. Anyway, he was with this like, one of his bad guys. But I don't remember it that well. Maybe he didn't know. I don't know.
That story was retconned into Green Lantern's backstory,
sure.
and it was along the same lines. I mean, like some of the trappings may have been different, but it's along the same lines of Batman, even back on Earth 2, and they're Batman now hooking up with Catwoman, a former adversary. So it's along those same lines. It just makes it even much more interesting when you look at Green Lantern through the lens of being a gay man and doing that as well. So, and let's face it, let's be real. Let's be real here. Green Lantern, as created back in the 30s and 40s, was just another guy with a cape because it was created at the beginning of superheroes, and that's all they were there for. And then when he returns in the 60s, when the Justice League brings him back, he is just another Green Lantern in a cape on Earth 2. And then in the 70s, when the Marvelization of DC comes around, they give him a little bit of a backstory, and that's kind of continued through and through. But there ain't been nothing really deep done with the man. This is probably the most interesting thing that has ever been done truly with the character. And for them to, as opposed to just saying he's gay now, to backtrack it all the way back to the beginning and address it from that standpoint, I gotta applaud him for it.
I think it's also, it's difficult with diversity in comics. You cannot force a character to be popular. So there's kind of like a tension between adding new characters and having them very rarely succeed, because that's any new character very rarely succeeds, or trying to modify a character that already exists into being an example of one kind of diversity or another. Like, I mean, it works in the places where it works, like Jon Stewart, right? Like, Green Lanterns exist, and they have a mechanism in their story to introduce new Green Lanterns. And this is one, I think, that also really works because he's a character from the 40s who would not have been necessarily open about this fact of his life. So you can just layer this in and have it still be true to this character. It's still a character that you already like. I also, side note, had the opportunity to meet Martin O'Dell, who created Alan Scott once, and it was awesome. And I have his signature on a comic from when I was a kid.
I agree with everything you guys are saying. Back to the story, which I thought was very interesting, is the story itself narratively attacks the question, why now? Because another part of that conversation when he revealed, like when he came out was, well, he's been around for 80 years. Why now? Why the character now is coming out? What's the big deal? Why now? So the story approaches that just head on. His son wants to know why now, and it's a very beautiful kind of discover. Like, Alan Scott's not good with his words, so he uses this ring to show his son his life, and then also explain to him that now, because I saw you being able to live your life to the fullest. Like, it's a really good moment.
Yeah,
Really
a cool
very
moment.
good story.
Yeah, I really agree. That moment between them, especially given those two characters' histories, is very cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
JD.
Have we broached the comments yet?
The comments?
Not yet, no.
Todd Engel is in the comments saying, "What do you call lesbians on a second date? A U-Haul." So yeah, it's a gag.
Oh, okay.
Joke, because stereotypically lesbians want to immediately get serious, in contrast to stereotypical gay men wanting to play the field.
Oh.
So that's
So
where
we weren't-
U-Haul comes from.
We weren't full off the mark.
Yeah.
I see.
So I thought some of these were really good. I did not read the not John Stewart, the Alan Scott
Scott.
one, but I have gotten into it on Facebook with people who, anytime they show Alan Scott, you've got the people down there, wow, they're really angrily typing, wow, they got to change the sexuality of the character and blah, blah, blah. And he was never this way before. But yeah, the fact that there are men out there who come out late in life all the time, and
Sure.
they have children, and they have had wives, and they've had heterosexual or heteronormative relationships, does not change who they fundamentally are. So I don't know. It's
Especially
something to
people
keep
from
in
his
mind.
era. Like,
right.
Oh,
maybe that's
especially.
not as common with
Yeah.
people like young adults now, but people from the 40s, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Is there?
And then,
is there?
and then I'm like, tell me the last time him being in a relationship with a female was super important.
Exactly.
He's actually one of the
They-
few that it's not, right? Like, they retconned
Right.
in this relationship with his kids because he didn't have anyone, that he was with, really, ever.
I don't know, the halcyon days of Alan Scott playing the field and all the women's
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, they
Whatever.
usually quiet down around that point. Tell me his super important female character's name that he was in a relationship with.
Iris West. No.
Ah, wow, dang it.
I like for the most part, I thought a lot of these stories were, for the most part, I think a lot of them were disposable. Some of them had some interesting art. I think that on a whole, the Poison Ivy Harlequin story is probably a little disposable, only because in the sense that their relationship has been explored other places as well. It's still constantly being explored. So this one other exploration of it, do we really necessarily need it? But that being said, the art and the story of it is so darn fun that I didn't care.
Yeah.
So I was all in on that. I too like the Batwoman story. I'm always down for a good Batwoman story. And I think that it is a story where the metaphor that they're trying to go for actually works and works very well, and it's very evocatively expressed artistically. So I really enjoyed that one. That was a lot of fun. And then we talked about Alan Scott. That was dope. The rest of them are just kind of like fair to middling the rest of the way. But even
The question.
The
question was great.
The question is dope. The question doesn't belong here. Like Renee Montoya needs her own book. I don't give a fuck. I will read it and if it's the same writer, same art style, I will be right there. They say it's just the beginning. They'll be tickling me with a feather, DC, because I'll come and see you because this joint does look dope. All right.
Oh, there was another really good moment, I thought, in the Pied Piper story where he goes and does his typical story thing where he's like, I'll buy these apartments and because I'm wealthy and everything is fine. But then at the end, he's the other character. He's like, all right, what's next? Which I thought was very cool.
Oh, my least favorite was the closing one, which is actually kind of interesting.
Oh, I like that
because that was the JLQ, the Justice League Queer story. That was like the pitch for one of those round robin books that was going to happen, and this is the creative team for it too. So that the Robins won, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
good.
but that was what was gonna like be this book. It is. I have no issue with a queer Justice League. It's just I don't know any of these characters. They don't introduce a single one of them. What the fuck is happening? What's the actual like? It was so weird, but I did appreciate, and I don't have the image to pull up if anybody has it, but like when Eclipso reveals himself as the bad guy. There's a piece of his dialogue, the last balloon of his dialogue, JD, if you can read it, it's interesting. It's funny because he essentially says like, "Hey, I don't hate who you are. I just want to kill you."
Right.
Like,
Well, he wants
God
to use
even-
their righteous anger.
God
Yeah.
loves you. But even
do
Eclipso
not.
is tolerant
Yeah.
of their lifestyle choice. Just
Yeah.
you know,
I
I
like
thought that was really funny. Like he's like, "No, it's not. It has nothing to do with because you're gay. I just want to murder you."
Well, he's even saying like their anger is righteous. This is a well of because of their mistreatment. He can get what he needs from these people. Also, I like seeing Brick, who I always thought had a cool power set. He was in the New 52 Teen Titans. Who exactly? He's never shown up again. But
Yeah,
he's
I mean,
in the
even-
New 52
even
Teen
that-
Titans.
Even that big old splash page of all of the heroes coming out, put names with them.
Yeah.
I don't know who the
actually love
hell
when they
any
do
of these
that.
people are.
Really?
Yeah, give me fonts and names. Like I knew
Yeah.
like maybe out of the 15 that like burst out of nowhere, I knew like maybe 5.
Oh, I know a
Okay.
few
Well,
of them.
we've got Batwoman.
Yeah.
We've got
Midnighter and
Iron
Apollo.
Midnighter. We've got Aqualad.
Yeah,
Crush
Times.
shows up there,
You
not
got
in the original
Tasmanian
Splash.
Devil. You got Crush.
Oh, that's who
Crush,
that is.
Crush.
The Tasmanian Devil is the
Yeah.
guy that makes out with not Doctor Strange.
No.
Ray. The
right.
Ray
No,
is
no.
in there, but he's in the
Ray's
far
there.
corner.
Right.
Ray.
Yeah, the Ray.
Brick, as I mentioned. And I believe that's Tracy
And then the rest I
13
don't
in the
know.
background. But I
Oh,
only
also,
know that
too-
from one of the splash pages.
There were a couple of pinups of characters that I didn't know were on the were a part of the community. Like
The only one I
Catman.
didn't know was
I had no
Catman.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, no clue.
But
That's
also,
cool.
could it not be part of the community to just draw something that you find
Cheesecakey?
appealing? Right, exactly.
No,
Even-
I think I every single like if that's the case, then this would literally be the only pinup that doesn't have the criteria of the character being a
Yeah,
member
that's
of
true.
the community.
That's a good point.
Well, I didn't like that last story primarily because of the end where it says JLQ, because that sounded like it read like 70s DC trying to force stuff
Yes.
in a way that they have no actual understanding or true sensitivity to.
Well, no, we
Oh,
don't know
like,
that. We don't
like
know who's
rainbow-fying?
writing- who would write this
Yeah.
book, you know.
I mean,
Well, still,
Tone,
but this is JLQ. Even though the character calls it out in the wording, it's still just the fact that you would deem to put that on the
Oh,
page.
yeah.
It's just corny, man.
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, I
as
agree.
far as
I saw that and I kind of groaned.
as far as anthologies go, this was one of the better ones. But again, it's still an anthology. Like only half of it is
Sure.
awesome.
That's how it always is. Yeah.
Noel?
Yes.
When you said that this JLQ was one of the round robin options, was it called JLQ?
Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
It lost in the first
They can
round.
do better.
Actually, I think
They
it
can
lost
do
in the
better
first
than
round
that.
to Robins. Yeah.
What's next?
Okay.
What's next is Brian and I are just gonna have a quick little Far Sector sesh. So Far Sector
All right,
number
you guys-
12, which is
Peace out.
Go ahead.
I don't want to hear any of this because I'm 6 issues behind, but I love that series
Oh.
and I want to catch up.
Okay.
You can spoil it. I'm just not gonna. I'm gonna go do stuff.
I don't think we'll spoil, but all right. I cannot spoil. Anyway, Far
Yeah.
Sector number 12 by DC Comics, written by N.K. Jemisin with art by Jamal Campbell. When Joe Mullen left Earth for parts unknown, little did she know she'd end up becoming a Green Lantern at the farthest outpost in the known universe, dealing with a complex culture that was able to have its first murder in centuries. Investigating that death unearthed a lot of secrets and made her a lot of enemies, and it all comes to a head in this rousing final issue.
Pretty
So-
spoiler-free solution.
Yeah, this whole series is one of the best things that's on the shelves. I can't wait to gift this whole story to people. When the first 2 issues came out, I wasn't necessarily completely on board, but there was always something there. And I realized towards the middle of the series, My issue was with the format more so than the story altogether. I had trouble with the world building, the pace at which the world building was happening. And it just kind of, like, I think I let 3 or 4 issues build up, and then I got on board really fast. And this 12th issue, even though it's a very satisfying conclusion, and I love the whole story, I think suffers from the same thing. Because the 11th issue ends with a climax and just like a to be concluded, and oh my god. The resolution is the first 3 pages of this book, and the rest of it is a coda. Which makes me feel like, well, these two could have just been put together. Like, I feel like the format of single issues has been the only thing that's messed me up with this book. I almost wish that maybe if it was bi-weekly in a prestige format, that'd been like larger chunks of this story are absorbed so much better than single issues, which is something that I don't say often because I love reading single issues.
This is also a person who is
she's
much more
novelist.
familiar with writing novels, right?
Yeah.
And that is something that we noticed in the beginning of the book, just like a common pitfall that novelists fall into sometimes of writing more words, which is very understandable. And we happen to see it a lot with comics, but then got out of it.
It is a hardcore nitpick because the end result is one of the best things on the shelves.
Sweet. Yeah. It's awesome. It's great.
I just almost wish, even if this was a quarterly book, 100-page quarterly book, then it still would have felt like a meatier experience than monthly 20 pages at a time. But so like some of the ideas that were in this book are just next level. What the hell is going on? The fact that
Sorry.
I'm just experiencing your life. Some of the ideas in this book
audio is, as long as everything's fine now, it's fine.
Some of the ideas in this book are next level fantastic. How currency works, how technology works. There's how these societies interchange with each other. This book is awesome. Joe Mullen is one of my favorite new characters, and I can't wait to see what's next. But I almost don't want to see anything else because this was great.
Well, I mean, she's already in Green Lantern, isn't she?
No.
And she's in who was she in?
She was in the Future State book stuff.
Oh,
I mean, like at the in this setting, what's the planet called again? Undying.
I forget what the name of their thing.
Eternal, like something eternal, or
the City Enduring.
The City Enduring, yeah.
Nice.
No, but she's
Like-
in Green Lantern currently.
That's great. Use the character elsewhere, but when it comes to the City Enduring and a continuation of these specific characters interacting with each other, Jamal Campbell and K. Jemison just do it in prestige format of thicker stories, and I'm in.
Oh. Do you think that they will? I kind of thought
I have no idea.
Now that this story is done, she'll be back, into just like regular DC world.
Yeah, what I'm saying is if they ever revisit the City Enduring,
Okay.
I would love it to only be this creative team.
Oh, sweet.
Because even the way that she's depicted and drawn by other artists is not as satisfying as Jamal Campbell's so far. Like she's got hips, she's got character, her hair is fantastic, and she's just not like that by other artists, which is the same issue with Naomi. They missed those fantastic character subtleties.
I have a
It's
funny
been a
feeling
long time
that
since
No, go ahead, JD.
I was going to say something stupid and unnecessary. Just that it's been a long time since I've seen a female character in a comic and been like, "Oh, what's up, girl?" You know what I mean? Like the way he draws her is.
Who was the
Chef's
last
kiss.
one?
Oh, Mary
Who's
Jane
bring-
Watson, probably by Todd
Yeah.
McFarlane.
Yeah, I mean the physicality that he gives Joe is just so fantastic. There's a scene at the end where they're having a picnic and like it's a nice romantic scene, but he gives her like the musculature he gives her is like old school Angela Bassett, yet she's still like she's beautiful and her hair changes with there's some subtleties in the way that she uses her ring that no other artist so far has captured. Even just the way that like she will fix her own hair with her ring while she changes from uniform to like civvies. It's wild, and this book is just so. I want to see this art oversized. Everyone pick it up.
Her Green Lantern energy is a little different too.
Yeah.
You guys, it's like a different kind of green. Maybe a little more washed out, a little less vibrant than the just like kind of green.
Well, yeah, that does directly have to do with her ring and how it works compared to other Green Lanterns, but that's something we won't spoil. Len?
Well, I was just going to say, first of all, that old school Angela Bassett musculature is the same as today's
current
Angela Bassett.
Absolutely. In my head, I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking Tina Turner Waiting to Exhale.
Mm-hmm.
Just because she wore the strappy things all the time.
Tina Turner, What's Love Got to Do with It?
No. Hang on, both movies. Tina Turner and Waiting to Exhale.
That's not what you said, though. So you didn't say
Tina Turner, Waiting to Exhale.
Okay. Anyway. I do think that, to your point about the format of the book, if I remember correctly, this book was solicited and came out under an older regime at DC, and there's now a new regime in that I think has been marketing more towards, like keeping the floppies going.
It's the last Young Animal book.
Right, but have been marketing more towards, differentiations in their formats. And I think that this regime, if they were to do a follow-up, talk to N.K. Jemisin, because I think she probably is the person who, if it ain't her, then they're not going to give it to anybody else. I think she is the type of author of note that I think would smartly write that into her deal. That if they were going to follow up with her, it would be solicited different. It wouldn't be a monthly. They would, and they would also give, and it would be more fitting. I'm really looking forward to this trade. Like I told y'all, I've already ordered 2 of them, one for me. I can't wait to give it to my daughter so she can check it out. It is just bananas. It's bananas comic books, but it's bananas science fiction. It's bananas world building. It's bananas character development. It's a bananas way to introduce a new character. It's been a long time since we had a truly new like Black woman character to kind of like that's locked on like this. Yes, is she wrapped in the trappings of Green Lantern? Sure, but even then, she's doing something different within that world, looking totally different in that world. If it wasn't for the symbol, I wouldn't even know she was a Green Lantern, honestly. So, I'm digging. I can't wait to check out the full story.
As far as ways to introduce a brand new character, I think this is scores better than Naomi.
I'll agree.
Naomi tried to introduce a new character. It introduced a new character, but I felt that miniseries introduction to her felt very slight, and I did not get a whole lot out of it other than like, here's who she is, we solved the mystery, and here's where she's from. And that's kind of all you get from that.
I loved Naomi. I thought that I liked that breakneck pace of we don't know what the fuck's going on, which was the tone of that versus this that's very intentional and very detailed in 12 issues, right? I wouldn't compare them so much, but I was gonna say if I had my druthers and I was in charge of publishing, right? Jamal Campbell now goes and does the second season of Naomi with Bendis and Walker, a good 6 or 7 issues, and then come back and disappear for like a year, but emerges with a full OGN with N.K. Jemisin, which is the next chapter of the Far Sector saga. Like that would be like, I would love that.
And wasn't it somewhere along the line that Naomi got optioned for?
Yeah. It's still going.
It's coming out.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes when that happens, that can change up your story. Especially if you kind of want to leave some bits for the series for television.
They intentionally and first of all, Bendis and David Walker have said they're not doing another Naomi series without Jamal Campbell. Like, he's also a creator.
Mhm.
So they were waiting until Fox Sector was over, but they did have the intention of, we're doing a season 2 of Naomi. It's going to be set up like albums, like seasons. But she's showing up in other places. But because of the CW show now, they might fast track that in the schedule. So if we were waiting to see Far Sector really fast, it's probably going to wait for Naomi.
Yeah, but Far Sector, honestly, once it's now wrapped and it's a trade, it is such a meaty story that it honestly could sit out there for a couple of years, gather up, the word of mouth now because it's the complete story and stuff like that, and really build the momentum for the next book. So
absolutely
it'd be fine.
One Hondy. This book is great. I think we all agree. Even those of us that didn't even read all of it yet know it's something special. So,
well, I had said earlier before we started recording or before broadcasting that I was embarrassed that I have not kept up with this book, because I do recognize it as something special and something that I definitely wanted to keep on top of, and I just was not able to due to life circumstances. But man, when this when this trade paperback hardcover comes out, I'm scooping it up and I'm going to read it.
Go read it.
All right. Let's see. Robert Monroe says it's going to be on the CW. And that's it. And then Action Figure Expert is just quoting us Footloose lyrics. So that's fun.
What are the lyrics? Everybody get Footloose?
Actually, yeah, pretty much. So before we get into the next books and talk about all the other cool stuff, just take a moment for Brian to talk about how to support the show.
Hey, there's this place. Conceptually, a place called patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo. So if you want the experience of giving us money, that's a great way to do it. Go to patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo. Your money will go to help us get things like headphones for me that I lost this week.
That I already listen. That your money has already gone to buying Brian headphones.
Yeah. So that's
now they're gonna go to buying Brian some more headphones.
Yep. We're gonna have to put a pair in multiple locations for him.
We're just gonna sprinkle them all over his house, so that no matter where he records from, yes, here they are.
We'll give a set to his girlfriend as like a backup set when he is somewhere else.
Doesn't know, like just tie to headphone fake rocks, and I'll put them outside. And but also if you don't want to or can't donate money, got other things that you need to spend your money on, just tell people about the show. Like, subscribe, talk to people that you know that might enjoy some reviews of comics, or the part in the front of the show where we don't talk about comics.
Like, subscribe, comment, ... things that we are discussing on the show.
Yeah. Try to keep it restricted to things that we are, or you could reasonably expect that we want to discuss on the show.
Yeah. Like if we're talking about Far Sector, maybe don't show up and be like, "Hey, Watchmen."
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Doomsday Clock is garbage. Like what?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
What's next? Excited. Well. Next, we're going to talk about a little book called Geiger #3 by Image Comics, written by Jeff Johns with art by Gary Frank. How do you make a monster? Geiger's tragic origins revealed from his time before the war to his fateful meeting with the doomed Dr. Molotov. All secrets will be laid bare when the King of Las Vegas invades Geiger's compound. So this is the third issue of the seminal story of Geiger. No, this is Jeff Johns finally doing a creator-owned book. We talked about the first issue on the show. I think we were all relatively like, yeah, this is cool. This is fine. Second issue came out. Third issue, here we go. I dig the shit out of this book now. The second issue was far and away better than the first, and because it just actually started world building. And then this issue, oh no! This issue,
whoa!
And then this issue starts to delve into the actual character of Tariq Geiger and how he functions. You know, like there are things that are revealed in this book or in this issue that I'm like, why didn't I notice that before? Like it's just like really fun stuff about his character design and his abilities. I really do, and also too, like there's been a kind of a locked door for most of the book so far, and they just opened that door up in this one, and it's just like, all right, we're done with that. What's next?
I was surprised and impressed that happened this quickly.
Exactly.
In the story. Yeah,
this was fun. I really enjoyed this. What did you guys think, Brian?
So I'll tell you what. You got Geiger. Dr. Molotov is like the bad guy. Why doesn't anybody in this name change their names to like Rupert, Happy and Fulfilled? You know, in these kinds of worlds, you're setting yourself up just for a great life. But
my son's middle name is never going to get me down.
The people just haven't gotten onto that yet in these places. But as a book, fun. It was great. The art is, unsurprisingly fantastic. Gary Frank, I don't think I've ever seen him do anything that I wasn't into. I dig the things that they are homaging. I really strongly get the sense that they both, or one or the other, was like, hey, I really want to do post-apocalyptic sci-fi story like I saw on TV or read when I was a kid, and they're doing it. Yeah, it's cool. I didn't read issue 2, but I still enjoyed this one. And like I said, I was impressed and surprised that they got to that mystery. Whichever way it turns out, they got to it before
issue 2. Just
issue 3.
Issue 2 basically just sets up these two children.
Okay.
Their mom works at a casino and tries to abscond with some money to go escape with them, and she gets killed. So these kids are on the run with something that's valuable. That's it.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Len, what'd you think?
I think it was cool. I mean, it's dope. If we read issues 1 and 2, I'll take your words for it. Maybe I wasn't on the show because I don't remember them. So I was reading this, and I didn't even pay attention to the number. So I was reading this as a number 1. So I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of like dropping you right in the middle of things. Okay, well, I'll catch up. I'll try and figure it out. And which I guess is not great, because when they do open up that door, I was like, well, I saw that coming. It's like, but it still didn't mean that it wasn't any more heartbreaking, for Geiger or whatever. I love Gary Frank's art. I've been hit or miss on Jeff Johns' writing as of late. So, there's that. There's one little thing that just bothered me a little bit about this story, and maybe it's a part of me just coming into it cold here in issue 3. But the whole idea of that Geiger, who's more like the radioactive man or Dr. Phosphorus or whatever the hell. Yeah. But he's got the rods that kind of like keep him in check. And it's like, don't let him pull the rods, because when we pull the rods, it's all over. It's a wrap. And I'm like, oh man. And then he pulls the rods, and he basically just turns into Daredevil, because then he throws the rods at people. I'm thinking he's going to pull the rods, and now everybody's just going to like explode. They're going to be, or his touch is going to like immediately, evaporate people.
Well, I think it's just that's when he turns all glowy and his like personal radiation is unleashed, which.
Okay, but nobody's running away from him or anything like that. And then he throws the rods at people. I mean, so I'm like, that was a little bit of a letdown for me. That being said, it was still kind of cool. I'm still into it. I would continue reading this. It's dope.
I love them rods. I think I was telling JD last night that I thought the rods were rad, only because again, read the first 2 issues, so it was just like batons, cool, whatever, dude. But then they actually I'm a fucking idiot. the rods are actually to keep the radiation in check, just like in a reactor you would have.
Right. Yeah.
Like, duh. So I don't know. I really appreciated some of the cool little like design choices like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that the rods are useful weapons. It's that they are.
Also,
well, I mean, they are, but
also too with the door, like with behind in the bunker, it's been 30 like from issue 1, it's been 30 years that he's protecting that bunker. We all knew they were not alive. It was just seeing it was like, okay, yeah, right.
I held out hope. I held out hope that they were
could've
still
seen
in
it
there.
going either way. Yeah.
Yeah, it could've
30
gone either way.
years.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Didn't you see the Brendan Fraser vehicle? Out of This World, whatever that was called. Do you remember that movie? That was a fun.
It was a Blast from the Past with
Blast
Alicia
from-
Silverstone.
That's right.
That's it.
And Christopher Walken.
Yeah, Christopher Walken. I think Alicia Silverstone was the love interest in that.
I
right?
said that already. I don't know.
I forget. That's a
Yes,
good
it
movie.
was. Yeah. But actually, you know, I read the first issue of Geiger, and I was really excited because Gary Frank and Jeff Johns. I was like, "Oh, I love Doomsday Clock. This is gonna be great." I've never seen Jeff Johns do a creator-owned series before, so I was really excited for that. And then I read the first issue, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is different than I thought it was going to be." And I just wasn't too impressed with it. I wasn't by it. I just thought, "Oh, what is this? What is this book? What is it trying to be?" I don't quite understand the vibe of it because a lot of the elements are kind of over-the-top, silly sci-fi. Dr. Phosphorus, and my name is Geiger. My real name is Geiger. And then this happens to me, you know. And then they show you the thing at the end with all of the way that the United States have been divvied out and all the silly.
It's Vegas. It's just Vegas.
Oh, the way Vegas has been divvied out, and it's all very silly sections, you know. So I wasn't quite sure how I was going to respond to it. I skipped number 2. I forgot. And then when I saw we were doing this one, I was like, oh, let me catch up. 2 was great. 3 was better. I'm on board. I think this is a really fun series now that I'm sort of like a little bit more tuned in on what we're doing. I think this is a lot of fun. And I was actually surprised. I mean, you have a 50-50 shot, right, of the people in the bunker. They're Schrodinger's cat. Either alive or they're not, or they're both.
Yeah.
And I was a little sad to see that they had died. And I was also surprised that they revealed that so quickly on the 3rd issue.
Yeah.
The first one set up like this is the long-running thing for the story of like protecting his family and maybe someday some sort of reunion. So I was
think
like,
it's part of it still. You know, that's his motivation for helping out these kids, I assume.
Yeah.
Well, the way that it's revealed also, I think, is a larger part of the narrative. So when we meet him in issue 1, he is protecting the bunker. What happens in this issue is a flashback from before issue 1. So he knows he's protecting corpses.
Oh.
What?
What?
Is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh?
In issue number 1, we see him. He built his wall. He's protecting a bunker.
Yeah.
What happens in this issue is a flashback to the first time he met all of those crazy knight and king people from Vegas, who we see in present day scar on his face. So when we first meet him in issue 1, he knows that his family is no longer with us. He's just protecting like the bunker still, or the remains. Like he's disillusioned doing his thing.
I'm not entirely sure that's the case. When we see the bunker in the first one, it has not been destroyed. Right?
I mean, just the door was just, they don't
blasted
blow
open
up the whole thing. They just blast open the door and he just
blasted
closed
off
the
of
door.
its hinges, right?
I don't know if it's off its hinges.
Ooh,
You just
it
saw
does
like
say now. There is a text box that says now when we see the king guy with his face guard. You know, to him.
Yeah, like and he's the reveal in the second issue. Like, go get that son of a bitch, and he's got a scar all over his face.
Huh. Oh, do you see him with the scar in issue 2?
Yes. So I got the impression that he is even more disillusioned than we thought before because he knows he's protecting just corpses.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, I could be
Great
wrong.
book though.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm actually really into it.
The last one to talk about today is the Joker Presents Puzzlebox #1. So this is interesting. It's a digital first. So the solicitation for this book is not until like August or September, the first issue. However, the first chapter is available digitally. So, I mean, it's kind of a head start on a book that comes out later if you guys want to talk about it. So let's give the solicitation. Joker Presents a Puzzlebox #1 by DC Comics, written by Matthew Rosenberg, with art by Jesus Marino. It's story time. The GCPD have a mysterious corpse, a magical box, and a murderer's row of the city's most dangerous villains sitting in a jail cell. Now, all they need to figure out is exactly what happened. Fortunately, one suspect is willing to talk.
No.
Unfortunately, it's the Joker.
No.
So, this was interesting. It's kind of it's solicited as a choose your own adventure kind of thing where it's told non-linearly and they invite the audience to be a part of the mystery as it goes along. So right off the bat, it's not a normal story because our narrator is unreliable. Our narrator is the Joker. And as I was reading it too, I'm like, is this out of order? Because it is out of order in a weird way. Like the first chapter takes place before the second chapter, even though it literally says chapter 1 and chapter 2. So I don't know if are they going to tell me this story backwards? Is it going to jump back and forward in time? There are some things in this story that are just objectively stupid. However, the tone that Matthew Rosenberg kind of creates, it's almost okay because I think he knows it's objectively stupid. Like, why would you put every single A+ villain in one normal holding cell? That's objectively stupid, but it's almost the joke of the book. So I don't know if that's a knock or if that's like I see what you did there. It's weird. This is a very weird book, but I think I liked it. What did you guys think, Brian?
I thought so. I hadn't really looked at the cover before, and I want to say that it is cool. Like I like that red coming out, and it's the puzzle pieces. The book was all right. You know, I mean, it's kind of an interesting hook that the Joker is doing his jokery retelling of this, and the parts that we as longtime comics and Batman fans know are false. You know, where Batman is like, "Oh no, I have no problem with you, Joker. It's all these other guys." You know, that's fun.
His name is Arnold.
Yeah. You know, when we read that Joker comic a couple of shows ago, I was surprised at how much I liked it because just villain-centered books are a hard sell. They're just hard to care about sometimes, especially because they often lose. And you're like, I don't know. It's kind of what an interesting exercise to go from the side that you don't normally see. Hey, there's a reason you don't normally see it. You know, this was fine. I won't read another issue unless we read it for the show.
Well, I won't read another issue even if we read it for the show because this was boring. I mean, I get the joke of it, you know, and haha, some funny bits. Oh, his name is Arnold. Please don't tell him I told you that. It was funny. It was cute. It was whatever. The art is serviceable. I usually, if I'm correct, I usually see this name, I think usually as the inker for Carlos Pacheco, but I could be wrong. I think his inker is usually Marino. But the art is serviceable. It's good. I shouldn't say serviceable. It's good. I don't maybe necessarily flow with the designs. Like I don't necessarily like his Joker, but there's nothing wrong with his Joker. His Commissioner
He's a regular Joker.
Yeah, he's like he's like a Joker. I mean, it is what it is. Classic. Yeah, it just I don't. I'm tired of the Joker. I'm just really tired of.
I don't think we've ever heard you say that before. Can you elaborate
sure you
why you're tired of the Joker?
I'm just really tired of him. I'm just bored the hell of the Joker. Like there are other like I so wish this was the Riddler, like and like saying that the Joker died as opposed to the reverse.
That would be rad. Wouldn't
and
sell though.
I wonder if the thesis of the story would work as well with any villain other than Joker, where you're like, he is. I'm
very tired of the Joker too.
False. Yeah,
but I
mean, to say that it wouldn't sell is true. To say that it wouldn't sell is true, but that doesn't mean that you don't take the shot, especially if it's a digital first.
Look,
it's not like you're trying to sell this off the shelves.
This is a larger conversation about. This is a larger conversation about what I feel is almost the creative defunctness of DC right now, where literally every other book, like for a book that isn't Batman, we get 5 Batman books. It's like a 5-to-1. Right. Batman and Joker, period, across the whole line, and it's just annoying. Like, I don't want another anthology Batman book. I don't want another Joker book, and that's all that they're doing. So I don't disagree with you there. I think I enjoyed that. My bar was hella low, and I really, really like this writer. So that first scene of what was sitcom level timing and punchlines for the whole interrogation was enjoyable to read, and then I let it go. If we never read the second issue, I probably will never remember it. But was this hard to get through?
Your favorite DC book right now is Nightwing, a Batman adjacent book.
Yeah, I mean, out of 15 books, one is great.
Oh, it doesn't invalidate your criticism. I just, I thought it was important information.
I mean, it was important information if you're attempting to invalidate my criticism. Sure. Yeah.
Well, I didn't think it needed invalidation. It's just so obviously wrong.
Oh my God. I came back just in time.
No, you're quite right. There is a glut of Batman stuff in DC. I also think that the other non-Batman books are some of the DC books that I've been enjoying the most since the New 52. So I'm happy with where DC's at right now. But your point is like extremely valid in my opinion.
Even the non-Batman books I'm reading, they're padded with backups that I don't give a shit about to the point where I'm going to drop them.
That part I don't like. Yeah.
And/or it's a $9.99 anthology that's half good. So I'm just kind of disillusioned with DC's publishing effort right now.
Being $1 more expensive are also a crappy thing.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I'm
for a retailer, I'm sure.
We're not talking about it on the show, but I'm still reading Justice League, and I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, it is a really enjoyable, fun-ass book, and it is halted to a stop with the backup story to the point where I almost want to drop it because I don't care to read this extra 10 pages.
I mean, I haven't read a single one.
It's just like I'm so encumbered by the backup story that I want to switch to trades. That's how annoying it is.
You could just
not all along.
Just not read it.
I'm paying for half of a story that I don't want to read, and I'll wait till it's just the story I want to read.
Valid. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a $4.99 book.
Yeah.
What if in the trade paperback, like with the next Batman trade, the backups are in the trade?
Are they?
They won't be.
Yeah.
As long as
I just got
in the back, and it's not like alternating.
I just got
the main story.
Trade paperbacks, which comes out this upcoming week, and this a thick boy.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think they will be. It'll probably be like a Justice League Dark trade on its own later on because the stories are not connected whatsoever in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I'm not into it either.
That's also the future state thing, and there may be an exception for that purpose. Hopefully.
You don't have to adjust my pull list right now. I'm just like kind of annoyed in general. Well, I mean, this can happen. I mean, I'm not doing a sweeping change a la Len the Bat Trouble, but there's a good handful of big 2 books that I'm just gonna like. No, I'm okay. I will still support them, but it's gonna be in a different way because some of them are just. They're pushing extras on me that I don't want to pay for.
Yeah. And it's weird because that is how comics were for many, many years. And I never felt this way when I was, when I was a kid. I always went to the back issue bins trying to find Silver Age stories. And a lot of those had backups. And maybe it was just that I was different. I also didn't mind as much as a kid picking up part 7 of a 10-part story and just going from there. But they never struck me as like an extra thing that if it wasn't there, you'd either get more of the main story or it would be cheaper kind of deal.
What's the most recent issue of Justice League?
62. It's the cover with all of their hands together.
Oh yeah, nice cover.
It is such a fun book. Like it's exploring Naomi's past. The earlier complaint we all kind of had of like everybody from Naomi's universe kind of having a slang or like way too familiar.
Yeah.
When they go to that multiverse or whatever, it kind of all fits a little bit more. Like it's not as jarring. Yeah. And then also too, the Flash, who I don't know if it's Barry Allen, I guess, makes some mathematical mistakes and it screws up their powers. It's just a really fun ass book. Super fun.
Oh, I think I remember. I read that book. I read that issue. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah. But yeah, it is $4.99.
Yeah.
Instead of $3.99, the cover of it is $4.99.
The regular cover. If it was the cardstock cover, it's $5.99.
Yes, $6 because you got a different cardstock cover.
Yeah.
Buy the trade. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're doing that. It's awful.
I don't know. Maybe in the older stories too, the backups were full story. They were just like little clips of the story.
Yeah.
And now it's like, so I'm kind of saddled with. I mean, we all feel, if I want to read the Justice League, which I do, I'm saddled with this other thing.
Also, too, like let's say you love the backup story. What was it? The Robin one from a couple months ago carried across other books.
That was bullshit.
So if you wanted to follow that Robin story, I gotta buy like 2 other Batman books that I don't care to read to just follow this backup.
That might have been because that was an intro to a new ongoing, and they were like, we want to catch as many Batman fans as we can.
But if you're reading the first issue of an arc of Detective and you didn't read Batman 109, but you got the second issue or the second chapter of Robin Eternal or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And that was to clue you in on, I'm going to go back and do this to prepare for the ongoing that's going to start next month. Stupid.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
I believe this is their push to get everybody to switch to trades.
You think so? I mean,
JD's about to throw a TV at me.
No, I don't think JD completely disagrees. That it's very inconsistent how they're running their model at DC. I think they're just throwing everything at the wall to see what works, including these digital firsts. So they'll solicit a new book coming out in August, but then all of a sudden the next week it is available digitally, which is 3 months before stands. So it's like, okay, like they're just trying all of it.
Right. Which is not really a bad way to reset your ideas of what you want to do.
If there was a sense of strategic, if there was a sense of strategy behind it, or that one that I could understand, then maybe I'd be like, yeah, of course, they're just trying it out. And especially since the regime change has turned over like 3 times in the last 12 months.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if there's a strategy behind it so much as what's making us more money, just try it all and then get rid of the rest.
That's what
That's what it feels like.
Strategy.
Yep.
I mean, but
that's not a strategy though. That's a just do it all. That's not strategic.
Well, sure it is, because then you prune after you see what is making you more money.
So
we're just in the beginning of the strategy. If that is the strategy.
I think we define strategy differently. Strategy is planning ahead in order to enact a plan, not let's do it all and see what worked because we financially can do that.
Oh, no. See, I see it as
that's not a strategy. That's
gathering.
That's reaction.
You shoot it all out there, and then you're like, now let us procure the data from as much as we've got.
Fair. I think we've bored our co-hosts, but before we leave, does anybody want to talk about
Loki?
What's this show called again? Loki?
Loki.
Loki?
Oh, it was awesome. I hope that
Loki, episode 1 entitled Glorious Purpose, available on Disney Plus, new episodes every Wednesday. So I feel like maybe we could just give a little talkie on that first episode. What do you guys think? Who wants to go first?
I'm going first. I thought it was great. It was certainly more charming, funny, more humorous than the other Marvel shows. The last two Marvel shows. Despite their attempts to be funny, those other shows, this one I actually laughed. Like, you know, the Vision, they were in sitcoms, right? Which were fun. They're supposed to be funny. I did not find the sitcoms to be mildly humorous. Whereas this, I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought Loki, Tom Hiddleston is very charming no matter what he's doing. He is super engaging to watch. And it also had a bunch of heart to it. That whole scene where he's watching his own future.
Yeah.
Awesome. Absolutely
I thought that was a
awesome.
great way to like bring him up.
Yep.
Character-wise.
Yes. I
Yeah.
thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because you kind of it could have been very easy for him to just be stuck in the time from which he left, you know, when he got the Tesseract and everything like that. But to actually have him catch up was pretty dope. I think that the stakes, at least so far in the series, seem a lot less dire than say in WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which allows it to just be more fun and fanciful and just, you know, just have a whale of a good time.
Which is funny because it's like all of creation.
Right.
What's at stake. But yeah, it does seem less dire.
Right. But exactly. Right. But it's still pretty cool. It was fun. It was well done. It was well crafted. The budget is right there on the screen, which is what you always like to see. The writing was there. It was funny. There was just really just not a bad moment on there. The whole idea of like you know, using time against you, just like every time you try to get away. I thought that was brilliant.
I love the scene where he stands up and he gets put. He was like, "I was standing, like I was standing to make a point."
Yeah.
It won't have as much impact now.
So I agree with all you guys. I thought it was just a great first episode, but it's just a great episode in general. I read an article that brought up a specific point, but as a derogatory, like a pejorative, but I think it was like the best part of the season or the episode. It spent an hour demoralizing and bringing him down a peg.
Yeah.
Essentially just destroying him for a whole hour to like restart the character. And they thought, like, the article thought that it was a very cruel process and it was unfair to the character. And I'm like, no, I think that was the brilliant part of it. Like the fact that the whole episode just wrecked him. And that was just such a really great place. Like everything that he put stock in, everything that he found powerful, everything that he ever cared about or understood about himself and just how the world works, gone. Yeah. So what do you do with that character? And like it could go either way. And I thought that was just great. And
I thought they were 90% doing him a favor, right? They're like opening his mind to the truth that he knows subconsciously.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Yeah.
90% of the episode too was people talking in an office or in an interrogation room, and it was still more enjoyable than most things
talking
on television.
About things you already know. And it was still awesome. You know?
Yeah, like it was. Great. I can watch. I think I can watch Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson just kind of talk through the phone book or a takeout menu.
Yeah.
Do you know I
for
had
an hour.
They were in Midnight in Paris together. I always forget that Tom Hiddleston is in that because I didn't know who he was at the time. He plays F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Oh, it's a really, really good movie. I highly recommend it. Yeah.
But I didn't even realize until you just said it. That thing takes place in like the interrogation room for the most part.
Yeah. And it was it was great because it was talking about. I like the whole idea because the tearing down of the character because it's breaking through his idea of himself as a god, as well as breaking through the concept of Loki as a part of mythology to really break him down to like, you are just this dude in front of me right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is where you are.
Well, also like Mobius essentially makes the point that your glorious purpose is to make others better. Period. Time
Yeah.
and time again, your glorious purpose is to make better people than you shine. And that is just fucking crushing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether you're a god or just like a mailman, that is fucking crushing. And it was just really good.
I
Really
like
good.
how he reuses the line, where he's like, "Oh, fear is done to," and I forget the line, but to cover up weakness. He's accusing Mobius of being like this, and that is his self-realization afterwards. We think he always has known, but he never really said it aloud.
Also, too, like knowing he can't go back. Like, there's nothing for me.
Yeah, there's no
It's just-
reset.
Yeah,
Seeing his
it's a
whole
really
time
good
play out too. It's like, oh, I always thought that the next scheme would turn out, and I saw it all, and it didn't.
Two things. One, they once again define the origin or predate the Marvel Cinematic Universe with a multiversal war. And the Timekeepers developing the stream and keeping it in check, which is, guys, Secret Wars. Anyone at all?
Oh yeah.
And then two, I forgot my second point. This is a wonderful show.
The only thing I kind of am a little iffy on is their explanation of Endgame and the no, it was okay for the Avengers to do all that, and it's okay that it's okay that Nebula is from another timeline, and we're going to keep her around. And
remember,
it's
just
not
whatever
Nebula.
the Timekeepers want.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, but
that's
I think
what I'm
that's one
saying.
of the main points of the show is that Loki's like, well, who are they? It's just what you decide should happen is what happens.
Who watches, I guess. Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, and we're gonna let Steve Rogers live through his timeline again. I don't know. That just seemed like out of place. But I admit that the show's not over. It has just begun.
Right.
And we may touch upon those things in the upcoming season.
That was one of the first things I thought too when they explained the whole variant thing, which was again just almost a retelling of the Chosen One talking about variants and timelines when she's talking to Banner in Endgame. It was the same thing. It matched up, but then I thought they fucked with it and put everything back. Were they allowed to? And then the next moment in the show, there's they were supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do this. So quit being an asshole.
Because he's great. Presumably the TVA also destroyed the variants that the Avengers created when they went back. They're just cool with at this point in time they do this.
The story purpose of the TVA 2 is to anything that you might want to question as a fan, they just went and took care of it.
Yeah.
Everything all of the butterflies that the Avengers stepped on, the TVA quickly just kind of came back and cleaned it up because they had to keep their mission.
Oh, also that was Tara Strong. I read.
Yes,
doing the explanation in that video. Two moments that I loved was the robot. To my knowledge, could I be a robot and not know? He's worried about going through. And when Mobius sees him at the end, and he's got the Tesseract, and he's like, "Have you tried to use that?" And he's like, "Oh, several times." It's just a fun, just cool interaction between the two of them.
Do you guys? So they reveal at the end of the episode, spoilers, whatever, that this variant that's killing off everyone is a Loki variant. Very, very confidently. I think I have a feeling of what it is, who it is, if it is a Loki, but do you think it's a Loki?
Well, that's the thing, right? They tell us it's a Loki. They tell us who it is, and then they're like, we're going to show you a cape. We're going to show you a shadow of a hood.
Well, I think it's a lady Loki.
Yeah, I was a little worried that it is.
Worried?
Worried because it's the villain. And that the gender fluidity of Loki is apparently, I didn't see this myself, but is apparently listed in his bio. And I was like, oh, if the differentiation is that female Loki is bad, I haven't seen it. Hopefully they'll handle it well.
Well,
and it'll
hold
be fine.
on. Male Loki is bad until something happens to him, right? Until he he goes through a process to not be.
Sure. But yeah, I was just a little worried that they're like evil Loki rather than
I
just
see.
kind of like scamp Loki was going to be that. Yeah.
The last time we saw female Loki in the comics was during Dark Siege.
Yeah.
The end of Straczynski's run, the start of Dark Reign, around Siege time, right?
Yeah.
So it's got precedent, but then I almost feel like the little girl points at the stained glass of the devil or a demon with horns, and then the audience kind of like, ooh, it's a Loki. Look at the horns, but maybe it's more literal than that.
It's Mephisto.
Like,
It's Mephisto.
is it Mephisto?
Mhm.
I thought that was funny. Like
Yeah.
I wish that was a response to fans, but it's probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because this was filmed
Already in the
long
works.
ago.
Yeah. I mean, I did for a second think Mephisto, and then they were the horns, and I was like, oh, of course, Loki also wears the horns. That makes sense.
Yeah. But I think it's off to a great
episode.
start. Yeah, really great. I'm really and we went through a thing where bingeable television happened, and it still happens every so often, but I am much more into the conversation of a new episode than
It's fun
sitting.
to talk about in between too.
Yes.
We got a
Anthony
question
Dra-
from Anthony D.
Yep.
Sorry.
Anthony Drago says, guys, question. How did this Loki know the Avengers time traveled? He only
That was a
knows
cool
about
part,
the events
too.
of the first Avengers movie.
Well, so he figured out that there were two Tony Starks there at one time because of the scent of Tony's cologne.
Yeah.
And he was
That's
like,
right.
he figured it out. He was like,
That's right.
an Asgardian, that there's super science and all that kind of stuff. So he was like, oh, they must have time traveled because I was about to ascend to God King status.
Yeah.
And they wanted to stop me, which is also not the case. Also, a totally different direction than I thought this was going to go. I think that anybody did. We thought this was going to be like multiversal. This is a different Loki and a different thing. I think that's interesting.
Well, now it's expendable Loki tracking down other expendable Lokis,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty fun.
Yeah.
As far as procedurals go.
All right. Anything else before we jet?
No, just I missed your faces and it's starting to hurt, so I'll talk to you guys later.
Good luck passing it, buddy.
Yeah.
Don't sign off. No. Oh no, we signed off.
I'm not going anywhere. I didn't go yet.
No.
We have to
Don't we have to officially sign off?
We do. I don't know where he's running. I love that man. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us this week on the Broken Old Man Hour.
I'm sorry.
No, it's funny because comedy equals tragedy plus time.
But now I'm remembering Brian saying, "Go outside. You don't know who's magic."
Good advice. Andy.
Throw your dick in me, man.
I think we should send this episode to Emmy consideration. How does that work?
This is a
I
podcast
think you just
award.
send it to them.
Is there a podcast awards?
Yeah, there are.
We got this.
Yeah.
We got this. Anyway, thank you for joining us. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, join us in all the ways that we engage with everybody. My name is Noel. With us this week has been Len the Bat Tribble.
Hello. Yeah, hit me up
Waves.
at Bat Treble. There you go.
Brian, where can people find you?
Oh, I'm at brianleavedesign.com or brianleavedesign@gmail.com if you want to write me an email for whatever reason.
Other than that, join us every Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, anywhere that you stream and enjoy your content or where you listen to podcasts. We have been the CultPop Podcast. Spoiler alert, we will see you guys next week and or on the social medias. Thanks for everything. Have a good one.